Welcome to the Maintainable Nails podcast, where we explore the art of healthy and sustainable nail care with both industry experts and best-in-show upkeepers. I'm your host, Robby Russell. On this episode, we speak with the acclaimed author, speaker, and motivational life coach, Logan Luke Tyler Tanner. LLTT joins us today from sunny San Diego, California. Logan Luke Tyler Tanner, welcome to Maintainable Nails.
Thanks, bro. Good to be here.
So, as you reflect on your time on the planet, circling around the sun, if someone were to come up to you and ask you on a podcast, hey, Logan Luke Tyler Tanner, what do you believe are a few common characteristics or traits of, dare I say, maintainable nails?
Oh, whoa, bro. That's a pretty good question. I'd say that reflecting back on my time on Earth, the top things that I pulled out of like good maintainable nails is, of course, moisturizing, like making sure that your cuticles look good and that the nail bed isn't too dry or cracked. But then also cleanliness, I think, is another big one. You know, people always talk about like, oh, I wash my hands like 5 times a day. But how many times did you wash your nails, dude? Like, your nails have the biggest grime in there. It's not just your hands, bro. So are you cleaning your nails a lot? Are you moisturizing them? And then, of course, you gotta have that top coat, bro. Like, something to protect, something to give a little shine. Like, it's all about the top coat.
I want to dig into that for sure on the top coat side of things. But, you know, you mentioned like moisturizing and washing your hands and your nails. Most importantly, do you see people, do you judge people for having nail polish that's kind of like hiding from themselves?
Well,
do you feel like that's something you've ever really confronted with yourself?
You know, I'm not a psychologist, bro. I'm just a therapist. But I would say that it could be, but it could also be a good way to maintain your nails, you know? Like, sure, you get a little more grimy grit underneath there. It's not quite as easy to spot when you got a nice coat of polish on. But at the same time, that polish can actually be protecting your nails and adding to the longevity of your nails. So I think that if you are using it to maybe distract from how dirty your nails are, then yeah, bro, that's like gross, and that's like dig into that with your therapist, dude. But like if you're just doing it and you're keeping them clean, that's actually good for you. That actually like helps with your maintenance.
Interesting. You touched on longevity, and I definitely wouldn't want to pass up the opportunity for the audiences to like dig in a little bit to the Tyler Tanner cuticle longevity method. If you could just, I know we don't have time to go through all of it because
Luke Tyler Tanner.
Okay,
sorry. Logan's my first name. Luke Tyler Tanner is my last.
Sorry, the Luke Tyler Tanner method for cuticle longevity. I know you wrote a book about this quite extensively, but if you could kind of just provide our audience with a kind of a high level overview, and I'll definitely include a link to the book to purchase online as well in the show notes.
Sweet. Gonna get that maintainable nails bump. So cuticles, everyone thinks that you got to clip your cuticles. That's probably the number one misconception I hear. And it's like, nah, brah, like clipping them just like peels them back even more, right? And then it's like even more hurt, more pain. Don't want to deal with that, dude. So like what I say is like there's things out there that like are like cuticle remover pastes and creams. And like if you have one of those, like that takes care of your cuticles right off the bat. You don't even have to clip them. Of course, like the best defense is a good offense, dude. So like if you moisturize every day and you keep your cuticles clean and push back, like you don't have to clip them that much at all. So I'll just say focus on that first. And then if you do have like a flyaways, like don't clip it. Like use a remover to have it come off more naturally.
When you're thinking about how you want to approach your nails and say you've got a big event. I mean, I know we're recording this in the middle of a pandemic, but for those listening, like, you know, one day we will be able to go to a large. And so when you do that, do you have like a regimen that you kind of follow for like, this will get me through the night or the weekend? Or are you always thinking about the long-term health of your nail?
Yeah, well, I think that if anytime I'm going out into a crowd, I like to think about the number of people that I'm going to be interacting with and the type of people. Like, am I going to be shaking a lot of hands pre-pandemic, of course? And if so, are those going to be like grimy hands? And if so, maybe I just slap on a pair of gloves because like gloves can be cool. And, you know, if someone gives you crap about wearing your gloves to a gala, just be like, look, yeah, I look like I'm washing dishes right now, but my nails are going to be like so much better in 10 years than yours are going to be. If that's not an option for you, I would say probably top coat, like a protective top coat, or even throw some polish on there. Like it doesn't have to be a full-on gel mani. Like you can just go and get some, fairly inexpensive stuff from a Walgreens and put it on there, and that's going to act as a protective coat for the night. Of course, like anytime that you can get the chance to go and wash your nails during the evening, like please do so. If you're a woman, or if you have a bag of some sort that you carry, you can like throw your nail brush in there and just like pop it out in the bathroom, do a quick once over, and 5-10 minutes out of the evening is gonna like do a lot to save your nails.
You had mentioned that as a therapist, you work with different types of clientele. I'm curious if how you approach someone that's like in the later part of their life, maybe they're past retirement or retiring soon, and their nail care concerns or longevity is probably going to be quite different than maybe someone in an adolescent, right? And I know a lot of kids and even adults will have different sort of ailments or things that are going on, or nervous tics where they might bite their nails on a regular basis. Is that something you feel like you've been able to help elders wean off of? Or I've heard some people talk about like that can actually be a nice way to re-explore how you maintain your nails in the future, like when you get older, to actually like encourage nail biting or later.
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I became such a like nail maintenance enthusiast because I was a nail biter. I bit my nails so much when I was a kid. My mom would say,
"Hey, Logan, like stop biting your nails,"
and like said it over and over and over. But it's just like sometimes you hear people saying it, people that you love, and it just doesn't connect. And sometimes you just have to like hit your rock bottom. And my rock bottom for me with biting my nails was taking off a part of my index finger. I bit down so hard one night watching television, I wasn't even paying attention. I'm missing part of my finger now, and that was sort of like a revelation for me. So I started learning about nail maintenance and ways to get away from that nasty habit, and that brought me into behavioral psychology. It kind of set me up for my career, like you might say. So in a lot of ways, I owe a lot of my professional success to my nails and how well I take care of them. To answer your question more specifically, I would say that it's really good to talk to someone, professional, about that habit. I wouldn't generally recommend people getting back into nail biting if they kicked it previously. But I'm not your therapist, I'm someone else's. So if that works for you and that helps you in some weird way that I can't think about, then great, go for it.
Such an inspirational story. We'll be back with our interview with Logan in just a moment. Hi, it's me, Robby. I wanted to take a quick moment just to say thank you for listening to the Maintainable Nails podcast. If you're finding these conversations as interesting and as thought-provoking and as inspirational as I do, please consider sharing a link amongst your friends on social media and or writing a review on Apple Podcasts to help spread the word. And now, let's return to our interview with Logan Luke Tyler Tanner. Do you ever deal with patients that come to you and they're contemplating, like, I feel like the only way to work past this challenge of nail biting is to just go full nail removal and do it like an implant? And do you help coach them through that type of experience? Or
yeah, that's a pretty extreme example, but I've definitely dealt with that before. And before, that's a sort of a last resort type of thing. And I would say that before we get to that point, I always encourage people to do fingernail encasement devices. And these are just small sort of, if you imagine like a safe, like a wall safe, it's sort of that sort of thing, but it fits over your nail. And the nice thing about it is it can be code based, or it can actually have an electronic or physical key, and like you can have someone else set that code or hold that key for you. So it's sort of like not to be blue, but sort of a chastity device for your fingernails, and other people can hold on to that to make sure that you're not taking those off just to bite them. So I would say that's generally the route that I go with my patients who have reached their their last straw with their nail biting. But if we need to, we can talk surgery and just get rid of your nails altogether.
I know there's such a stigma for that. Like I've heard of children in school, and I mean right now we're in a pandemic, so not a lot of children are back in school yet, but that would be a thing where like their parents would need to be able to relinquish control for them to, have access to their nails at school for some reason, or if they're like in PE or something like that. And so that could be challenge, and then you're worrying about internet connectivity all day, and you're not supposed to have kids with devices all the time. And so I get that it's really complicated to manage that. And also another reason I'd be doing our audience a disservice if I didn't touch on this one important thing. I think about keyboards, like a computer keyboard, your laptop's keyboard, and I know that there's been some growing concerns about like, is the formation of nails changing based off of how our keyboards are evolving in some way. So as we're iterating on making less noisy keyboards, is that actually impeding our ability to maintain our nails? And do you have much thought on that?
Yeah, actually, that's right up my alley, and I actually have very strong opinions on that. I'm not an engineer, but like I'm working with some engineers right now to develop a prototype for a new spherical keyboard with curved keys. So one of the problems with keyboards and the way that they prevent you from maintaining your nails is the repetitive I would say trauma that you're putting your nails through by clicking them on a key, so many times a minute. And it's hard when they're just flat on a flat keyboard, and it's hard that the keys themselves are pretty flat. So like what we're working on is sort of like a spherical sort of globe style keyboard where the keys are spread around the globe and you hold onto it like you might hold onto a basketball, and then the keys themselves are indented. So like they go in, which prevents the nail from ever hitting anything. So it's just touching like the tip of your finger and not any part of your nail. And we're seeing some really good like just early clinical trials with some of our test studies. Like the maintenance of people's nails like gets significantly easier when they start using our globe board.
How have you been able to factor in different lengths of nails into that sort of, without revealing any much of your, obviously intellectual property and such, we're under NDA, and so we can only talk so much about it. But in terms of, if someone's going to be like, oh, I want to get a nail extension, and so do they need to think about like, oh, I might need a separate keyboard, or is that something you're going to be able to evolve and have kind of grow with you and your nails?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're working on nails up to and including like 1/2 inch long. So we haven't started any of our trials for longer than 1/2 inch, but things are looking promising for up to that size. So if you're looking for an extension that long, like the globe board keyboard certainly will work for you. We're experimenting with other ways that would be more, I'd say, accordion style. And the keyboard is built on either side of an accordion, and depending on how you're pulling the accordion in or out, that determines which key you're striking. And that is a really, we think, we haven't really, like I said, gotten into the trials yet, but we're pretty sure that that's going to like solve it for people with longer extensions. I, of course, am not super pro nail extension to begin with because like the glue can cause a lot of harm to your nail bed. But if you're going to do it, you might as well not add insult to injury by like clacking your nails on a keyboard all day too.
I feel like that's one of the benefits of the pandemic, like the silver linings, I should say, is the not having to overhear your coworkers nail tapping against their keyboard. I wouldn't say fondly, but I have vivid memories of a coworker from about 19, 20 years ago that I used to work near, and they were they had a loud keyboard, and they had long nails, and it was a very upsetting combination of things to kind of go in, to be near, and like not just like obviously needed to get some really good headphones back then just to kind of drown them out. And I don't have to work with him anymore, and that's been great. But it's inspirational to hear how there's some movement in this industry to think about how people with longer nails. So maybe I feel like I ended up creating a weird persona in my head of how I associated him and my annoyance towards him because of a noise, and it was less about him as a person and just him as a noisy coworker that was like 2 cubicles down from me, and I could not think about their cuticles. I'm not going to mention his name on the show, just in case he does hear this, because we still work in similar circles and stuff like that. I think about that a lot. But anyways, so another topic I wanted to quickly dive in as we wrap up. Last few couple questions, and I do try to bring up like nail care for like pets, and there's the Yelp factor. It's a very clear, it's a very fuzzy line for dogs on where that Yelp factor is going to be. It's kind of a little bit of a guessing game. Do you work with people with pets and like giving them some guidance on how to know how especially if it's a new pet to them and they've not hit that Yelp factor line before? It's traumatic for the dog and for whoever does it. But how do you coach them through that?
That's a really good question. Animals and nail maintenance, completely different, like, stratosphere, dude. Like, it's not even the same as humans. You'd think that some of the same things would apply, but like, strangely, they don't. Like the Yelp factor, I'm assuming you are talking about the noise a dog might make versus like the website. So the Yelp factor for that would be, if they're yelping, like, you're doing something wrong. Or maybe their dog is just kind of a wuss. As you can tell, I'm not really an expert in this field, but I know enough to know that, like, I don't know much. So I would say, like, I would go to a veterinary nails maintenance specialist, because like I said, like, it's completely different worlds in terms of like what you need to do and how you need to keep care of your animal's nails. I appreciate the question though, because like not a lot of people think about their animal's nails, and it really bums me out because like I care about nails all over the place, like not just on humans, like on almost everyone. So it's great that like you're out there like using your platform to talk about this, even if like I'm not the right person to be asking.
And in between those sessions, do you still kind of advocate for at least a similar sort of cleaning regimen? Or should that be done by professionals as well?
I would say like that's probably even something that could be, you would need like a professional advice on. I do say that like anytime that you can throw some booties on your dog's paws, like do that, because I'm sure that helps with keep their nails maintained, but also it just looks really cute. I want to see that when I see you walking your dog down the street. Like, yeah, good for their nails, but also good for your dog. Like, he looks adorable.
I think that's a good spot for us to think about wrapping this episode up. So, if you could recommend one book to our audience, what would that be?
I really like Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. Everyone thinks it's a kid's book, but, I think that you can get a lot of good out of it, even as an adult.
Excellent. I'll include links to that in the show notes. I'm not familiar with that book myself, but a few people have mentioned in the past. I'll read it at some point.
Yeah, no spoilers here.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Logan Luke Tyler Tanner, for joining us on Maintainable Nails and talking shop with us.
You're welcome, Robby. Really my pleasure.